What's up, YouTube? Happy Monday. CHF here, bringing you another episode of Coaching Handheld Football. And we have got a little bit to talk about today, guys. We have a balance update. And then, of course, I am patiently waiting for the December update that is going to bring defense to Madden Mobile in a way that has really never been seen before. I think it's way better than counters if it works as advertised. But let's go ahead and take a look at what we have as far as balance update goes. Talk about our daily grind guide, and then I'm going to give you guys some tips for how you can prepare to start building your defensive schemes. Because again, I'm going to share some schemes with you guys, but what's really going to be helpful for you is if you can understand the concepts behind them. Talked about it a little bit in my live stream this weekend, but let's go ahead and take a look at what we have. So first, we have some changes to the Overdrive Captain bonus values. We're going to have a boost of 15 points to Cam Newton and Mike Evans. The base bonus is going to go from 85 to 100 for Newton and 130 to 145 for Mike Evans. And Tony Gonzalez is actually losing 15 points on his captain bonus. It's going to go from 165 down to 150. And of course, that's going to kind of work across the gamut. That's kind of the starting levels that are changing, but it'll of course make the changes at the higher level as well. We then had a small change to what is required to get the captain bonus for Russell Wilson. They increased his requirement from 225 to 265 all-purpose yards with the quarterback. So that can be receiving yards if you have the Philly special. It can be passing yards. It can be rushing yards. And then finally, there's an update to the Overdrive divisions. Again, not a huge fan of the Overdrive game mode personally. It just gets dry. But hopefully it gets a little better with more tweaks that go on. But essentially what they did is there, I guess, was an issue with the Elite 3 division regarding play restrictions and fan awards. So they went ahead and fixed that. Also today, we do have the Veterans promo dropping a couple of new players. An 88 defensive end, Michael Bennett. An 88 cornerback, Tremaine Johnson. Those guys give plus experience. But again, not really a huge fan of that promo as a whole. The entire quad hub just doesn't quite do it for me, guys. So as far as what you want to do today, can't hurt to do the quad hub. It is free stuff. If nothing else, you get the stuff and then sell it. But do your league versus league drives, your league survival, donate your 100 crowns. And then in the events section there, it is the veteran promo for the day in the crap hub. I do always make sure, even if I don't go for the veterans because I get lazy, always do the main event. You could get lucky. I have never gotten lucky, but it is, at least in theory, possible to pull 100 of the rising stars or flashbacks. And that could actually be pretty useful if you were to pull that. As far as other events go, guys, it's really just a bunch of the same. You've got the normal promos. There's nothing special here, but that's not really unexpected. I know some people were saying, oh, maybe we'll get something early because I guess in FIFA Mobile, they did get their winter event early. It's not here yet. I'm kind of keeping my fingers crossed that maybe we'll get the Ultimate Freeze as well as this defensive update at the same time. But again, even if I have to wait on Ultimate Freeze, I am okay with that because I am so stoked about having the ability to create defense. So here, let's talk a little bit of theory about how you guys can work on building a defensive scheme. So the first thing that I want you to think about is understanding that it is done in a situational basis. So basically, you're going to assign defensive plays anywhere from 1 to 5 different plays for each situation. First down, second and short, second and mid, second and long, etc. So what I want you to think about is what are the plays that you really get gashed with? Last year, it was easy. If there was a play you were getting gashed with, you go ahead and just put in the counter and the counter works. But here's what I want you to do. Go in and play against a league mate and look at the specific plays that you want to shut down. And then think of, when you run that play, what are the threatening routes? If you got 3 deep routes and one like little flat route and the flat route never goes for any sizable yards, don't worry about defending that. But think about the plays that you want to take away. And this is finally giving us a use for Season Battle. Because what you can do is if you go into Season Battle, you can go in against one of these teams here, and you can go into defense, and you can look through the defensive playbook. So think about it. If it's a flat route that is a home run play, make sure that you get a, such as like FL Drive, make sure that you get a flat route covered. So something like a light blue zone. if you're getting beat deep, if you've got a post route, make sure you're not running cover 2 if you're trying to defend against a post route. Post routes will shred cover 2. You want cover 3 or potentially even cover 4, something that is going to have a little bit tighter, because against cover 2, you just have 2 safeties deep, and the middle of the field is definitely something that they can hit you with deep. So think about what you want. Now, my general thought is right now the current meta of the game is really run heavy in league versus league. So what you will probably want to do is, for those early downs, set some good run blitzes. But I want you to be careful in how you set your run blitzes, because it's easy to say, oh, let's just come out with something like engage 8, a massive blitz like that, where you got 8 guys blitzing and then just cover 3 in the back. The problem with that is, yeah, it'll do a good job of stopping the run. However, as soon as that person, if they're a skilled player, catches on, hey, on first down, he's blitzing 8, just give a quick little drag route, a quick little flat route, in route, out route. It doesn't matter. Any sort of quick pass is going to get past that blitz, and because everybody's dropping back, they're going to get a big, a big gain. And if they can make somebody miss, either with, stick skills or a truck, something like that, they can take that to the house. So what I want you to think of as you're shutting down the run, think about shutting down the run, but maintaining decent coverage. Maintain decent coverage. So if you're trying to shut down, something like, you want to just go with all purpose, something that's going to shut down most run plays. You're going to want something that has blitzers coming from both sides. Something like this would be a great play to shut down a run, but still have some coverage in the event that they start passing, where you've got a 5-man blitz, blitzers coming from both sides off the edge, as well as the middle and deep zones covered. You'll have 6 zones covered. That would be something that can be there. Alternatively, you could go with something like under smoke. The problem there is you're going to have your safeties in man coverage. Safeties tend to be better at zone coverage. And honestly, I'm just not a huge fan of man coverage in video game football. It's just too easy to beat. Things like drag routes, there's just certain routes that will beat man coverage, and I just don't think that it's worth risking there. So as you're thinking about blitzing, I would not recommend going with all-out blitzes. Think of strategic blitzes that are still going to give you some coverage. Something like this, pinch dog 2 press. It's going to cover those flat routes, still blitz 5 guys, or even, OLB strike 2. Same situation. You want to make sure that even though you're blitzing to shut down the run, that you still have coverage, so that if they adjust on their next drive or their next first down, that they are going to have something to slow them down. So my thought process there is, if we just take a simple play, something, that you want to shut down, where okay, there's 2 streak routes on the side and a post route. Right away you want cover 3. That way deep, all 3 are guarded. And then just look at what is left in that play. Does it have a threatening flat route? Does it have a threatening drag route? Look for plays that are going to shut down the important routes. That's how you should think about this. This is a great time to do this, guys. Get out a pen and paper. Get out an Excel spreadsheet. Start thinking and writing down, what plays do I want to stop? FL drive, quick slants, PA slot crosses, whatever those plays may be that you are afraid of, or just inside runs, outside runs, whatever they may be, run those plays. Get really familiar with all of the routes, and you'll know there's some routes that you need to worry about, and some routes that if you're just going to give them that route, you're fine giving it, because they're not going to get much with it, and they're going to have to dink and dunk their way down the field, maybe throw an interception, fumble, something like that. But take away the big threat plays. And then once you know what plays you want to shut down, just kind of go back and forth. You can go in, you can save and exit. So you come in, you play offensively against a league mate, intra-league, run the play, get familiar with the routes, and then hop into season battle. Pick a defensive play that's going to shut that down, and then just start to write those things down. Like, play X is countered well by play Y. Once you've got that list of all the plays that you want to shut down, as well as all of the defensive plays that are going to do a good job of shutting those down, then it just becomes a matter of plugging those plays into, is the person more likely to run the ball on 2nd and short, or are they going to pass it on 2nd and short? So that's when you start to build your scheme. Again, I'm going to have content to help you guys with this, but right when it launches, you're probably going to have a league versus league. I don't know if I'll be able to get out that video like right at the launch with an initial scheme for you guys. And similarly, if I drop one scheme and there's a competitive league or competitive player out there who also watches my channel and knows, hey, this is the scheme that Mike put together for everybody, let's try to beat that scheme, thinking that a lot of people are going to copy that. You're going to want to tweak it. You're going to want to make it your own. And the best way to do that is to understand the defensive coverages. Understand your roster. So when you go in and look at your team, when you're making the decision on how you want to make your defensive scheme, whether it is a zone-heavy scheme, a man-heavy scheme, go in and look at your defenders and take a look. When you click on the player and you flip that card around, it's going to tell you whether that player is better at zone coverage, better at man coverage, better at stopping the run. And those archetypes are really going to come into play. I didn't really like having those archetypes before, because what ends up happening is you can build an all zone coverage or an all run stopper type of team. But if the computer is calling a defensive play and is calling a bunch of man coverage, your players are not going to be that good. Now that we have this update coming, if you have a bunch of man coverage corners that you have out there, you can probably build a scheme around man coverage. That way you're not putting your man coverage players in zone coverage. So you can really tailor your scheme not only to what you personally want to stop, but your personal lineup. And I recommend that you guys do that. And I recommend that you don't have the same scheme for your entire league, because if they can figure out a way to beat that scheme against one guy, and the rest of the league all has that same scheme defensively, they are going to have a field day just going through everybody. What I would recommend is a good mix of run stoppers, pass stoppers, using different coverages, some guys playing man heavy, some guys playing zone heavy, and have your league coordinate, but still make sure that you've got some fundamental concepts covered across all of those different playbooks. So I am super excited about it. Let me know in the comments down below if you guys are super excited about it. My big question mark is, how will it handle flipped plays? Will it auto flip? For example, if they flip a play, will the defensive play automatically flip? Will it let us assign them differently? For example, say I want to by default run a play flipped, so that I've maybe the play has blitzers coming from the left, but I want blitzers coming from the right. Will it let me flip it when assigning it in my scheme? And then similarly, if they flip it, will it unflip it? That's a big question. I think if EA gives me that, I am going to be so stoked. I'm going to have so many cool schemes for you guys to shut down everything. But guys, now's the time to start thinking, start planning, coordinate with your leagues, get together, think about what plays are going to be really threatening. What are you guys getting gashed with today? What do you think you're going to get gashed with once the run is not as effective because people are putting in a bunch of run blitzes for situational run down and distance kind of situations? Think about that now, work together and start building those schemes, because I can promise you, the first couple of weeks, when everybody is kind of figuring this all out, if you and your league have worked together to really hone this early, you're going to be ahead of the meta, and you guys are going to have a lot of defensive stops, and that's going to win you a lot of games. So guys, that's really what's, all I want to cover today. There's not a lot in the game to cover, and really kind of going through play breakdowns and things like that. Let's wait until we see what happens, because I'm excited about that, where, what I'm looking at doing kind of after this, not only am I thinking about defensive schemes, as we start to see trends that come up where you're starting to see certain defensive plays become really prevalent in certain schemes, in certain situations at the high end, kind of competitive gameplay situation, that's when I'm going to be able to bring out play breakdowns as well. So, bring out maybe new plays that people aren't using now, but when schemes kind of dictate defensively that they're going to take away some of the popular plays today, maybe we're going to start to need new popular plays. So I can already see now future content. Not only am I going to be bringing you guys defensive schemes, but as we start to see certain defensive plays become really popular, I can come out with plays for how to beat those defensive plays as well. So I am super excited. This update is like the biggest thing from a strategy standpoint that I've ever seen in Madden Mobile, so I am super psyched about it. But I'm going to go ahead and stop it right there, guys. If you like this video or what I'm trying to do here on the channel, go ahead and hit that like button. If you are new to the channel, guys, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. What you can count on is strategy content. And with this new update that's hopefully coming later this week, I'm telling you, my channel is going to be an immense resource for you guys because nobody else is going to be doing this stuff. Nobody else is going to be giving you guys that competitive edge you need to win on YouTube as far as defensive schemes, how to beat those defensive schemes, and everything else under the sun. And if you want to see what I drop, when I drop it, go ahead and hit that notification bell to join the notification squad. I love you guys. You are the best ever. I may see you tomorrow, kind of depending on content. I love you guys. You're the best ever. CHF out.